Hello viewers, welcome back to Daily Retro. Today we have another episode of retro gaming news and additions. Been a little while since the last little episode. I wasn't actually expecting to pick up much, but it's kind of turned out to be the precise opposite this month. Almost 2 weeks ago I went off to York and en route been meaning to go to the biggest sort of retro gaming store in the UK, Doorway to Dorkness, as well as saw some retro games in York itself. These have been on my radar for quite a while to visit, and yeah, going there sort of it was nice to actually be able to, as you will have known from my previous episodes, it was nice to sort of pick things up that I wanted to, not because it was on my list as such. I still got a small list, but it was nice to just sort of browse and take everything in. But since then I found that the inspiration I got from Doorway to Dorkness, I'll show some photos later in this episode, has just sort of revived my love for retro. That shop is incredible. I urge everyone to check it out. It's in Doncaster, so it was kind of en route on the way back for us from Cheltenham to York, or vice versa. But yeah, without further ado, we'll get into the news. So the first bit of news is a piece of hardware I've seen on Kickstarter, and that was a 4K Gamer Pro. Unfortunately, I checked it this morning, and although it was always looking good and going to go through as a sort of backed project, today I saw that it's actually had a copyright claim by Nintendo, but I'm pretty sure that's just for sort of them advertising with some Nintendo characters, which they could obviously remove from their advertising. It's nothing to do with the actual product as such. But anyway, the 4K Gamer Pro has been reviewed by quite a lot of YouTubers now, and it's sort of a device that takes 1080p and upscales it to 4K. So it's a 4 times scaler, and yeah, the reviews have been very, very good, and it's more aimed at the Nintendo Switch, but they are actually saying that this device could be used for other consoles as well, such as the PS3. And yeah, it's a scaler that I've not really seen on this scale at this price point either. I think it was about £65–70, which is considerably less than other scalers I've seen of that type. It has been fully backed. You may or may not be able to check it in the link I provide for now, but yeah, I'll give you an update on that if I can in the next episode. So the second piece of news is something I saw on Retro RGB. I'm not sure if this website has been around for a long time, but anyway, they were talking about this website called Console Mods. And Console Mods is basically a wiki page with every single retro console and new consoles, and it displays how you can mod them in every single possible way. I just found this website incredible. It's still a work in progress, so there is stuff still being written for it, but if you're looking to sort of get into that, this website is for you, and I will link that down in the description. Third piece of news is I was amazed to see the other night, I think it was 2 nights ago as of recording of this, that Dragon's Dogma, one of my favourite RPGs ever made, came out 10 years ago, which was time flies. But anyway, Capcom, who made it, they have now announced Dragon's Dogma 2, and that is in development. It doesn't have a date for release yet, but I'm just stunned that they've decided to do a sequel to that game 10 years after its initial release. And yeah, I have talked about it before on the channel. It is one of my favourite RPGs ever made, right up there with things like The Witcher and Dragon Age and Kingdoms of Amalur. But yeah, that's the news. So without further ado, we'll get into some pickups. As I said at the start of the episode, it was sort of mainly aimed at going to 2 brand new retro gaming shops. So the first one I visited was actually in York, because we travelled up on the bank holiday Friday in June, so not many shops were open that day, so I waited till the Saturday to go to Sore Thumb's Retro Games in York. I'll flash up some pictures as we sort of go through that. But we picked up a few things. The wife actually almost spent as much as me, I think, because she's just trying to backfill her nostalgic collection of Tomb Raider and Lara Croft games and memorabilia at the moment. So first off is Tomb Raider 2, which is the game she is actually most nostalgic for. She did used to play it on PC, not on the PlayStation, but obviously it's very easy for us to play on the console in the games room. And she's currently playing through the modern ones on the PlayStation 5. So she said she would love to go back to this once she's completed those. And it was only a tenner. I think that is a slightly more than you would pay at most game shops. Sort from Retro Games is sort of, it's not a cheap shop for everything, and they didn't do deals for bulk, which is something I was a bit miffed by, to be honest. But whatever, it's a shop in the centre of York, so they must have a high rent. Anyway, the second and last thing that Natasha picked up was sort of linked to that. So she got a Prima official guide for Tomb Raider 2. She actually got a really good price on this. I was thinking it was going to be worth a lot more than she paid, so I think she paid £8, and they go for about 20 on eBay. So surprisingly that was a good price, but the rest of it was sort of a going rate or a tiny bit more. And then there was just a couple of small pickups for myself. These were just games that I spotted but weren't on my list that I used to have. So the one that sort of sprung off the shelf to me was this game, R Racing. Just an arcade racer on the PlayStation 2, very Ridge Racer-esque, and is a very cheap game. I think it was something like £5. But yeah, very nice condition, so I thought I'd pick that up. And then this is probably the only Need for Speed I ever played on the PS3, before I sort of didn't play any more of them, to be honest. Undercover was a good game, but for me, compared to the PS2 and even the PS1 titles of Need for Speed, it was nowhere near as good. If you think there are better games since this, then please let me know. But that was about £5 game. And yeah, in the actual shop they had a raffle. So what this is you pay £1 and then you can pick out 5 tickets out of a tub, and if you happen to get a multiple of 5, you'll win a prize of some sort. And after an absolute palaver of pulling out like 20 tickets, even though I only paid £2, so I only should have got 10, I eventually got some top trumps for football for 2013, 2014, so players I would recognise, but not really something I'm necessarily going to keep for nostalgic purposes. Yeah, so I can't really recommend that raffle either of that shop. But being more positive, Doorway to Darkness on the Sunday, oh my goodness, this shop is incredible. It's the biggest retro game shop I've been in. It's ever so slightly better than Super Game Shack in Leicester, I would say. Those are definitely the top 2 in the UK, in my mind anyway. So I'll start off with the cheaper sort of games. Again, Natasha was looking for Tomb Raider stuff, so she got the single disc edition of Tomb Raider 1. And as you can see on the sticker, that was £8.99 complete. Pretty good price. I picked up a few cheap games. One was actually on my list. I'm trying to sort of fill out my Game Boy collection at the moment for when my Analog Pocket gets delivered in Q3 this year. So only a few months hopefully now to wait. So we've got Blades of Steel, which is a ice hockey game. More prevalent in the Americas regions, but a very good ice hockey game nonetheless on the original Game Boy. I think that was only £5 for a very good price. You'll see them go for about 10 on eBay. And then I got Angry Birds Star Wars. So this is a game I actually remember playing on mobile and just saw it on the shelf, and as it was cheap and on the 3DS, £4, can't go wrong with that. And then lastly on the game front, I got Mario Lemieux. So I'm always looking for ice hockey games, to be honest, especially Mega Drive and Game Boy ones. I just really enjoy playing them. Yeah, they're my favourite sort of arcade style sports game to play, and for $6.99, it's one I've not actually seen very often. I thought I'd pick it up. And then lastly, at Untitled Chapter, I've been looking to sort of replace my 3DS XL that I bought just cheaply on Facebook Marketplace a few months back with a tablet style 2DS, because that's a console I actually remember owning and playing Pokemon Moon on, I think it was, amongst Mario Kart as well. But anyway, they had a very reasonably priced boxed Pokemon Sun Nintendo 2DS, which, as you can see, is in pretty good condition. I think it was about £100. Yes, that did seem to be like the eBay sort of rate, but as he gave me such a good price on everything else, I was willing to sort of not negotiate much on it. And it came with a charger, which it didn't actually come included with as standard. So yeah, I can't really fault it. It's in beautiful condition. So yeah, I can't wait to play on that and play all my 3DS titles on it. So that was the end of those retro game shops. There have been a few other pickups in the last sort of few weeks around that. So as I said, Doorway to Darkness just gave me a rush of nostalgia for picking stuff up, and they don't go too crazy. But yeah, I went back to my local retro game shop in Gloucester, and even though they've not got nowhere near as good selection as Doorway to Darkness, they sometimes do have games that other shops don't necessarily have, which is quite nice to see. So I just picked up a couple of cheap sports titles. Again, another ice hockey title, EA Hockey. Still had the original £1 sticker on it, probably from the early 2000s or late 90s, and they actually let me have it for £1 because I'm a local. And then I got Fifa Street on PS2. This is a game I'm not massively sort of... I don't love it, but it's a game I sort of enjoyed playing multiplayer with my friends when I was a lot younger, because yeah, I wasn't really into the proper sports games, and this was an EA big title, so it's more of a fun football game. And Ronaldinho was in the World Cup that I remember most, so I thought I'd pick that up. It's about £2, so yeah, you can't go wrong for £2. And then, penultimately, I saw this in Game of all places. Game is a weird one in Cheltenham. There's one basically at the top of it's sort of a, I don't know what you call it. It's very Debenham stylish, but it's called Cavendish House. And anyway, they've got a game in there now. It's very small, but the selection of games is okay. But the selection of merchandise and related stuff is very, very good for some reason. So I picked up this. That was only £15, whereas on Amazon or eBay you will struggle to find this for less than £25. I even bought one for my dad for his birthday because he absolutely loves Pong. And as you can see, it's got the original sort of analog knobs, so you can actually play as it was intended on the original 70s arcade. Takes batteries or micro USB cable power, and yeah, I couldn't turn that down. partly because I'm selling on my Atari 2600 at the moment. So I still wanted to play a way to play Pong like this. The reason I'm moving away from the 2600 is I'm sort of putting my money into more sort of arcadey style titles, which you will see videos about very, very soon. But yeah, couldn't resist that. And then lastly, for my birthday, I should have mentioned that York was for my birthday trip. So for my birthday was sort of the 2 days after we got back, and a friend of mine, I'm not really sure if you're going to be able to see it very well, but he bought me this. Oops, there goes the Atari. This is a DIY games console. I think it's called a Pixel Boy. So it's basically got, as you can see, those pixels on the front. That is the screen. So you're going to have things like Tetris playing on that, which I think was awesome. Gonna take a few days of soldering and swearing, I'm sure. But yeah, I can't wait to have a go at that. And yeah, that's it for the additions this month, guys. As I've mentioned, been rather busy recently, doing a lot of work in our actual real life house garden. I don't know why I said real life, but yeah, we're spending a lot of time in there, so I'm getting less and less time in the games room at the moment. But that is very much going to change very soon. Caden, is our little boy, is now almost 7 months old, and bless him, last week he went in his own bedroom and didn't kick up a fuss at all, to our astoundment. And every night since, he has been sleeping, as the phrase goes, like a baby, only needing one feed a night and letting us have our evenings back, sort of thing, which is really nice of him. But yeah, that means more time for videos like this. So can't wait to share with you guys some new content coming very, very soon. If keep an eye on my Instagram, because the content will sort of be teased on there, but there'll be much more content come July. We've got a very, very special interviewee coming on Guide to Games Rooms at the start of July. My first American guest, that's all I'm going to tease with. But was very, very pleased to get that interview, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, guys, let me know down in the comments and leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and see you very soon. Cheers.